They don't make them beats like they used to, they don't make them beats. They don't make them beats like they used to, they don't make them beats.
My name is Hannah, and this is my no-buy year. Today I'm filming my March favorites and a welcome video for no-buy April. It's April 1st, which means that it's another opportunity for any of you who are interested in doing a month-long no-buy or even a 2-week no-buy to have a start date that's at the beginning of the month and to plan an end date that's in the not too distant future. If you think you want to join me for no-buy April, definitely put a comment in the comment section down below. And don't just say that you're doing it. Let's have some detailed rules. I want to know what you are and aren't allowed to buy. I want to know if there's any wiggle room. Do you have provisions like for health and safety? Or do you have one loophole, one thing you're allowed to buy? Is it a budget type of no buy? Is it a low buy? I'm really curious to know what you think would be an appropriate challenge for you, but that's the kind of challenge that you think that you can rise to. A challenge that you think that you can take on. If you're willing to do some kind of no buy or low buy or some other kind of habit breaking challenge for the length of April, this is the video for you to comment down below.
What you're not gonna buy.
I'm also throwing my March favorites into this video. I just have a couple favorites from the month of March. As most of you already know, I spent half of March in an artist colony, so I was wearing a pretty minimal and repetitive makeup look during those 2 weeks. While I was there, I was mostly focused on working on my writing, and I did judge myself up a little bit every morning before I sat down to work, but I wasn't sporting any looks while I was at the artist colony. Some favorites did emerge from that experience though, and I have just a couple of other things that I've really been loving on. So let's get started. My first and probably most favorite won't surprise you. I've been mentioning it a lot, and so I'm just gonna kind of whiz right through it. It's the highlighter from this NARS palette. So this is the NARS Bord de Plage palette. It's limited edition, but it's still available, unlike their first limited edition highlight palette, which is no longer available. That was the little 3-pan one. I'll try to put up a picture of that if I can find one. That also had Rivage in it. It was the pale highlight in that one. And Rivage, the highlight that is my favorite for the month, is in this palette too. So it's this really pale one in the top corner. It's ever so slightly iridescent. So it has a little bit more oomph to it, something a little bit more otherworldly or unearthly than just a plain, very pale pink highlight would have, which is essentially what it is. It's like a super pale peachy color, but it's just got something. It's got something extra glowy. However, on me it looks very natural, and I did wear this every day, I think, at the artist colony, which was a place in which I was not trying to look done up or overdone in the least. I wore it a lot there. But I've also found myself reaching for this one highlight to really build up a super bright glow when I put on a full face of makeup for dancing or for photography here in LA. So I find this highlight to be very versatile. That's part of why I love it. This is probably my most reached for palette by far this month, and I don't see my close relationship with this ending anytime soon. But that highlight specifically is the main reason I've been reaching for this, so I think that's my actual favorite. But I'm a big fan of this, the Bord de Plage palette. It was a good investment back in the fall when I bought it. Sticking to the theme of glow, I had to include this product because I love the effect of it so much. And I'm also a little bit troubled and unsure about where I'm going with it. And so I just wanted to bring it up and update you guys so that I can report back in a little while. I placed an order before I went off to the artist colony for a night cream because I had run almost completely out of the one that I had left, just a basic moisturizing night cream. And the one I ended up buying was the Belief moisturizing, the Belief moisturizing, what is it called? The True Cream Moisturizing Balm. that was what I ended up with. And that's what I've been using as my night moisturizer since I was at the artist colony. It was really dry there. It was a wintry climate, so I knew that I would need something to last me through, and so I went ahead and replaced the one that I have now completely run out of. I'll show you those and talk more about them in my upcoming empties video when I talk about my March empties and repurchases. But in that Sephora order, I was able to get this as a point perk. It's the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Radiance Drops. So I had the desire to try these. I knew about them because I have seen Jaclyn using them on her channel. And Jaclyn, like me, doesn't really wear foundation, really privileges the glow of the skin. She has beautiful skin, and when she comes on to do an eye look, she'll often say, oh, I've already prepped my skin, but she hasn't put anything on it, not even concealer. And it'll look amazing, glimmery and glowy, but without being really very sparkly, hydrated, but not greasy. Just amazing. And in one of her videos, if I can find the actual video, although I don't know if I will actually be able to, I'll try. If I can find it, I'll definitely link it. I remember a specific video where she said that essentially her secret, at least at that time, to that super glowy, dewy skin was this as basically as a primer. It's Radiance Drops. It's not a highlighter. They're too subtle, these drops, for a highlighter. I'll try to show you what they look like right now. This is the mini, obviously this is the sample size. Yeah, there you can see that. So it's an oil, but it is glimmery. Hopefully you could see. Once you blend it out, it does not blend out like a highlighter. It doesn't look like the Cover FX custom enhancer drops at all. It really ends up looking like a radiance primer, honestly. It has a really nice smell, a little bit fruity, and my skin, when I use this as a primer, y'all, it's everything I've ever wanted. I love the way that my concealer blends into this oil primer, and I just love the way all of my makeup products go over top of it. It's the best thing I have ever found in terms of the way that it performs for prepping my skin after my final layer of skincare. I was so surprised. I was afraid that the oil would not interact well with other things. I was afraid it would stay greasy. I was afraid it wouldn't actually prep my skin, that it would just look good, but it wouldn't help the concealer go on nicely. It could be my ride or die. It could be the end of the line for me. But for the fact that it has coconut oil as one of its ingredients. It's a mix of oils. And coconut oil, it's kind of in the middle of the list, maybe 5th or 6th down. So it's not just a bottle of liquid coconut oil, for sure. There are other ingredients that make up more of the formula than coconut oil. But it's also not a paltry contribution. It's coconut oil. It's putting coconut oil on your face. And I am acne prone. Traditionally, if I put coconut oil anywhere near my face, I'll break out. And coconut oil is very pore clogging. If you look up the scale of how pore clogging different oils are inclined to be, I think coconut oil is a 4 out of 5. So it's a very likely to clog the pores on your face, especially if you're acne prone. And I know that some people use it on their face, use it as a moisturizer, use it as a makeup remover, that kind of thing. I just can't do that, and I've always kept coconut oil away from my face at any cost. I went to the artist colony with very clear skin. I had been having a good skin month. I brought my new Belief True Cream Moisturizing Balm with me, and I brought this product with me to test out while I was there. So as soon as I got there, at the beginning of those 2 weeks, I had very clear skin, and I started using both of those products. By the end of the 2 weeks, and I used them both every day and night for those 2 weeks, meaning I used this during the day, looked bomb, and used the True Cream Moisturizing Balm at night. By the end of the 2 weeks, I had a little bit of a breakout. I had started to break out a little bit. I had some little blemishes around my chin and a little bit on my cheek. And so I stopped using this product. And my skin has cleared up pretty well since then. But I am two things. Number one, I'm not completely convinced. I feel like you can't tell just from that one experience that this is the thing that gave me those blemishes. It could have been hormonal. It could have been the food that I was eating there because I wasn't as in control of my diet as I usually am. It could have been the dry weather. It could have been the Belief product, the True Cream Moisturizing Balm, because it's a thick moisturizer and I was layering it on really thick every night. It could have been that. And it could have been this. It could have been this. So I'm not totally sure it's this. And then the other thing that I am is really, really reluctant to admit that it was this because I love this. And I would so purchase this as my primer, my only primer, if I could be sure that it's not what was breaking me out. Luckily, this is a pretty hefty sample. It's just 2 or 3 drops I was using every day. This is gonna last me a while, and I haven't used it again since those 2 weeks. I've been back for another 2 weeks and I haven't used it again. I'm gonna try again. I think maybe I'll start tomorrow. I'll start April 1st because I'm filming this the day before you're seeing it. So for you, when you see this, if you're watching it on the day that it was published, I'll be starting today using this product. I'll use it for a good couple of weeks and we'll see what happens. If I become convinced that the coconut oil in this product is breaking me out, I'm afraid I will have to break up with it. And I'm already starting to scheme ways that I can mix some kind of radiance drops in with another oil primer that doesn't have coconut oil, like maybe the Smashbox one, or just maybe my marula oil, and start using that as a primer, kind of a homemade version, a homemade mixture that imitates the concept of these radiance drops. I'm already kind of scheming how I might be able to rig up something like that because I discovered through the use of this product that oil as a primer, an oil-based primer, works really, really well for me. I felt like in spite of my fraught and unsure relationship with it, I couldn't not put this in my favorites this month because it was my favorite product that I used in March. It was just the best. I looked forward to using it every day. I love it so much. It's my favorite. It just might not be something that I can use sustainably. But if you know that you don't have acne prone skin, if you're looking for something like this, if you're a person who doesn't really wear a lot of makeup actually, or if you have a lot of no makeup days and you're looking for something to just make yourself glow in a pretty subtle way without anything else, I highly recommend this product. I just recommend trying it. It's beautiful. Have I talked about the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Radiance Drops long enough? That's the question of the hour. I think I probably have. Time to move on. A lippy favorite, possibly predictably this month, is the Infinite Lip Cloud in Rose Nude that my sister gave me for my birthday. I love this product. I find Rose Nude to be a slightly more drying perhaps than Faded Clementine, the other one that I have, but I still really love this formula, and it's partly because of how it fades. If I put this on and then blot it or wear it through a meal or wear it all day, by the end of the day it really melts and fades into my lips, and it's truly a My Lips but better for me. It's a really beautiful product. I love the way this looks upon application, an hour later, 5 hours later. I just love every phase of it. I love how it smells. I love how it feels. I love how it goes on, the color. It's a beautiful, beautiful product. So this is the second month out of 3 that an Infinite Lip Cloud has been in my favorites. It was Faded Clementine in January, and now it's Rose Nude in March. This formula for me is still at the head of the pack. I love it so much. And I like the crimson, the other color of this that I have, crimson. I like that a lot too. I just have worn this one a lot more because it's a little bit easier to wear. And then my last, I just have 4 little beauty favorites, is also a deluxe sample size, but this is something that I had I received it towards the end of last year, and I've just been using it every once in a while. It's a hair care item, and it's by the brand Joie. So from what I can tell, it's just called Rose Hair and Body Oil. And this is just a deluxe sample size that I've been working my way through. The way I use this is it's for the ends of my hair. Look, you can't even see the ends of my hair because I'm sitting too close. But I can even use it a little bit right now. I don't know if you'll be able to see the effect, but the ends of my hair, I think this is true for many of us, tend to get a little bit crispier and frizzier than my hair from here up. I only wash my hair about once a week, once every 10 days, and I've been doing that for a long time, so my scalp is really used to that routine. It doesn't overproduce oil, and in fact, my hair looks the worst during the first 2 or 3 days after I wash it, when it's kind of silky and limp and baby fine. And then the longer I go without washing it, the grittier and more tousled it gets, and it gets more body in it. It gets a little bit more personality, and that's how I like it. So the longer I can go without washing it, the better it looks, in my opinion. Towards the end of the week or the end of the 10 days, then I might start to use some mousse or some dry shampoo or something to keep it going. But for the most part, I don't do that much with my hair. But what I will sometimes do, especially if I feel like it's getting dry at the ends, is I will just take 1 pump of this. I'm gonna do it now, and I don't know if it will show, but you can see how that looks. Just 1, it's like almost nothing. And I'm making sure not to touch the upper part of my hair while this is on my hands, because I don't want any oil close to my roots, because oil will come out of there eventually. It just doesn't make it all the way down to the tips, because I also don't brush my hair, except for right before I get in the shower on the day that I'm washing it. I almost never brush it. So I don't tend to, one of the things brushing does is it helps pull the oils, the natural oils of your scalp down through the rest of your hair, which does nourish the hair. But my hair doesn't get that treatment very often. So now that it's off my hands mostly, I'll kind of quickly run them through the rest. So hopefully you can see a difference. It still has that PC and this is the look I like. I like this PC sort of casual slept in look, but the oil in a way has enhanced that. It's like it's made the flyaways and the frizz belong to the strands of hair. But because it's an oil and it's not some kind of sticky or gunky thing, it just soaks right into the hair. It nourishes the hair. It makes it healthier. It just helps it style itself in the way that I prefer. So it also smells really good. It's a beautiful product. It's lightweight. It soaks in. I also don't feel like I need to wash my hands now, which I usually do after I use my hands to put a product in my hair. It just feels like it's soaked completely in and only done good things for me and the skin on my hands and for my hair. I really, really like that product. Because I don't use very many hair care products, the rules for hair care with my no buy year are a little bit fuzzy, because I have a bunch of random like hairsprays and mini dry shampoos and oils and stuff floating around, and I don't use most of them with any regularity or dependence. So once this sample runs out, my life and my routine is not such that I think, be able to claim it as a whole category hair oil and be like, oh, that category is run dry, now I can buy a new one. I don't think I'm gonna be able to allow myself to do that. I think it's more just gonna be, if I happen to run out of every single product that I can possibly use to put a little life into my hair, then I can choose one dry shampoo or one mousse or something. That's probably more what it's gonna be like, but I don't think I will run out of hair stuff, because I just have all of these little, I bought one of those Sephora sample kits of like 6 or 5 different hairsprays, I think, at the holidays. And then I have a bunch of full sizes of different things that I've collected over the years, and I just haven't used them up because I don't use that stuff very often. So when this is done, it'll be done, and I'll have to wait until 2019 to purchase this in a full size if I want it. But I might, and I might really miss it when it's gone, because it is the perfect hair product for me. It's not too fussy, it's not ostentatious, it's natural, it's healthy for my hair, and I feel like it helps contribute to the messy effortlessness that I'm going for most days. So those are my 4 little things: the NARS palette, the Infinite Lip Cloud, the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea, Radiance Drops, and the Way Rose Hair and Body Oil. Not very much leapt to mind when I sat down to pick items for this video, and it's partly because I've been so focused this month on my work, my other work, my writing. And once I got back to Los Angeles, I had to pour a lot of energy back into my business because I had been away for 2 weeks. And at the same time, I've been doing my best to retain the momentum in my writing life that I had when I was at the artist colony. So I've been making extra sure to set aside time every morning to write. My head has kind of still been in those clouds, the clouds of my own work. So I only had these 4 favorites. I've been reaching for the same things over and over again a lot this month. And many of them are sort of rediscoveries, or I'm affirming the fact that I'm glad that I made the purchase. Like with this, it's really a process of affirmation and discovery within my own collection, as opposed to those favorites videos that are like, I tried 50 new products this month and here are the 10 that I liked the most. You know, it's a no by year favorites. So it's a little bit different. And I think that possibly for that reason, there will be more favorites some month and fewer other months, depending on my habits that month and what I've been doing and what kind of looks I've been wearing. I haven't done a library haul in a long time or talked about what I've been reading, but I have been reading a lot. I think my favorite book of the month, and I don't have it with me because I read it while I was at the artist colony. They had a library there, and I read this absolutely brilliant book called Homegoing by the writer Jaclyn. I'll put a picture of it up. If you have not read this book, drop everything, buy it, or get it from your library and read this book. Read this book. That's all I have to say to you. It is magnificent. The other writing I have really been enjoying this month is the work of Ursula K. Le Guin. Ursula K. Le Guin passed away recently, and so her section of the library has been pretty spare because I think everyone is doing what I'm doing, which is trying to work our way through her body of work because she's on our minds. And I realized that I hadn't really read any of her work, and I've always meant to. So every time I go to the library, I take out what I can, and I have absolutely been loving her work. So far I've read The Left Hand of Darkness, which I think was the novel that got her a lot of attention at the beginning of her career. I read a book of short stories called A Fisherman of the Inland Sea, which was stunning, and the title story of that book, the story called A Fisherman of the Inland Sea, is definitely worth a read. And I'm currently working my way through this book, which is 3 short novels all together in the same volume. The novels are City of Illusions, Planet of Exile, and Rocannon's World. And they're all fantastic. All of these novellas are set in the same universe as The Left Hand of Darkness and some of the stories in A Fisherman of the Inland Sea, but they're separated by vast gaps of time and distance. So they're set in the same general universe, but not necessarily with the same characters. She's just wonderful. I can't recommend her more highly. And I would, start with anything. Start with Fisherman of the Inland Sea, start with The Left Hand of Darkness. The way she thinks about gender and government and sex and sexuality and time and regret, time and space and family. I know that's a long list of subject matter, but those are things that all really interest me and have kind of been my obsession since my youth. So I'm just finding her to be a really good fit for me. It's up my alley, but in kind of an unexpected and unusual way because it's sci-fi, and I enjoy sci-fi, but my obsessions with gender and time and space haven't always taken a science fiction shape. And so it's just fun to think about those things in the context of the worlds that she invented. So if you can lay your hands on any of her books, I really recommend them. If you're thinking about joining me for No Buy April, or doing a no buy for the first 2 weeks of April, or however long you think you can, consider a book as a way to distract yourself. I really recommend it. Go to your library and check out Homegoing, and every time you want to shop or every time you're tempted, just pick up your book and read it. That's my suggestion for April, as a way to have something that grounds you and draws you in and feeds you that isn't shopping. If you don't want to do a no buy for April, or if you joined me in no buy March and now your no buy is over and you're basically just doing the opposite of a no buy and going and buying all the things that you wanted in March but couldn't buy, that's great. Let me know that too. I would like to know how No Buy March went for you, whether you were successful, whether or not you're glad you did it. If you failed and you're starting again in April, let's just have a little check-in, a little kiki down below. I really want to know how you guys are doing with your own personal battles with the monster of consumerism. If you are a person who needs to fight that battle right now, if that's why you're here. If you're just here to hear about the things that I love and that I'm loving using during my no buy year, I'm very happy to have you. That is it. That is the end of this little video. Welcome to No Buy April. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my small collection of favorites. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I hope that you will take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.